Hi, Dad.
Hi, Leva. You want to say hi? I'm making a video.
Real?
First question. How has your faith changed or matured from your 20s to where you are now?
That's actually a good question. I'm glad that you asked me that. I'm glad we have a minute because this is a story. So I grew up not really religious. I was baptized Serbian Orthodox here on the Iron Range of Minnesota, where I'm at right now. And we were never a practicing religious family. And in my family, there's a lot of alcoholism, a lot of abuse, and things like that. And then when I was 14, my father found Christ, and he was changed instantly. I remember looking at my dad, and it was not my dad. It was somebody who had been born anew and renewed in the Spirit of Christ. So I don't care. I don't care where I've gone on my journey. I've always known that Christ is real. I saw it in my dad. And I had committed myself. I wanted to be a pastor because I thought if I could save one person that is like my dad, that would be pretty incredible. And then you grow up and you turn 18 and you realize that life is a little bit of a bigger place. And I stopped going to church. I had a pastor who was just I was actually talking about this at Bible study last night for a little bit. We had a pastor who definitely, when he was outside of church, being a pastor was his job. When he was off the clock, he was off the clock. He was not I remember saying that he went on a vacation with us once. We went goose hunting in Canada, and the people we were staying with were friends of my dad, and they were asking him, like they were curious, like they were asking for inspiration for Christ, And he looked at him and he goes, "Hey, I'm on vacation. That's my job. Okay, I don't want to talk about my job while I'm on vacation." And I remember I was like 16, and I went, "What? I don't think that's how that works,
That's silly.
Yeah, and I just kind of got away from it because sometimes you don't understand faith, And then about 4 years ago, what was it? About 4.5 years ago, it's a lot of chaos in my family. A lot of things I don't talk about a lot with a lot of people. But my wife left. She had an affair. We were going through a divorce, and I was broken, like as a human. I was broken. And I remember I was sleeping on the couch, and 2 consecutive nights, I had suicide dreams. Like it was something I would have never done ever in my life. I've got my girls, I would have never done that. But they were so real. They were vivid. Like I remember I could taste the gunpowder in my mouth. And I like woke up because I felt the shot, and it was crazy. And it happened to me 2 nights in a row. Wow. And I got up and I hit my knees in my living room, and I begged Christ. I said, I can't do this by myself. I'm too weak. I can't do this. I need your grace. I need your mercy. Please help me. And it was gone, man. It was gone instantly. And ever since then, I've developed a closer relationship with Christ. It was about 2.5 years ago, I think. I had some new neighbors move in next to me, good people. And they started witnessing to me. And I'm kind of unique about religion. I don't care if I disagree with you. If you have the courage to witness to me, I'll listen. You're going to have the courage to share your faith. Let's talk. And
Cool.
They were talking about this church in Annandale, where I go. And I tend to I've wanted to avoid most larger churches that they're Bible based, but they're evangelical, because I find them to be too political. They'll always advertise, like we're gender affirming and stuff like that. There's so much of that going around now. And I thought, I can't go to there. I don't want to even be close to a part of that. And they said, no, it's not like that. It's a conservative church. They come to our Bible study. So I started going on Wednesday night Bible study. And that was also like the Awana group like the children's church. So I got my girls going. And
Oh,
I did
cool.
that for a few months. I did that for a few months before I even went to a Sunday service because I was like terrified to go to a Sunday service because I just had a feeling. I was like, I can't listen to this. I know they're going to preach something political. It's going to make me freak out. And I went, and it didn't happen. This is a conservative church, and they kind of avoid politics, and it's very Bible based. So I got myself
Good.
into. I'll go to their Monday night Bible study this time of year, and I catch about the last half usually of the Wednesday Bible study now because they got me doing some volunteer work for Awana. They needed some guys. They didn't have enough people to help out. So I'll do that. So, it's the least thing I can do. This church would really help me.
Yeah.
And I've definitely found new faith. And like where we work, it's kind of a beautiful thing. Like we work for a place that absolutely is a Christian organization. I love the fact that
Yeah.
we have a chaplain on staff. I love that. It's incredible. Can you find a place in 2026 where they have a prayer group every week? Like
Right.
I like to think that if you were talking about religion at ATS and somebody went to HR is going to have a problem with them. I love that thought in my head. I'd be like, I don't like the fact that he said Jesus is Lord and Merry Christmas. And HR would be like, you might be working at the wrong place, buddy. I don't know if you know that. And so I like that. It's
But it's not shoved down anyone's throat. I don't feel it's shoved down anyone's throat.
It's not.
No.
It's there, but it's a reality of a place. It's welcome,
Mhm.
and it's. I hate the term safe space, but it's a safe space for that. You never have to show up at ATS and be afraid of the simple fact that you're a Christian. And I really like
or
that.
not.
Yeah,
Very
or
nice.
not. You just kind of get
Very
to show
nice.
up, and there it is. So my view on faith is I think it's important, but to each their own, ultimately.
Yeah.
And I know what it did for me, and it has saved me because I had the hand of Christ's mercy put on me.
Yeah, and everyone can deserve
Yeah.
that. Everyone can feel like that.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. Everybody can feel like that, and it's sometimes, unfortunately, you have to be broken a little bit to feel it.
Mhm.
Like I look at where I was at, and I'm thinking, well, I lead a good life. I'm a decent human being. Why did this happen to me? And
Yeah.
I never thought that I was once being punished. I think that unfortunately sometimes you're given a correction that sucks, and you have to be able to look at it and go, okay, this was a correction. Why? This isn't a woe is
change is
me.
tough. Yep.
It is. This is not a woe is me. This is the Father above looking down on you and saying, my son, I need you here. Unfortunately, this is what has to happen.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're not going to understand. And it sucks, but the reality of it is I look back at it and I'm in a better place, but moreover, I'm closer to God. And God has a role in my life. And I've met some people who they disciple to me, and it's really fantastic. I've got a good friend that I've met through this. He's an older guy who's been walking with the Lord for 40 years after, according to him, leading an evil life. And I love talking to this guy because he's a guy who understands that though he may be holy, he may walk with the Lord, he's still a man.
Absolutely.
And I talk to Don several times a week, and it's funny because Don's got a chewing tobacco problem, and he knows that, and he's like, I still got my weaknesses, Brian. I like to have a drink now and again, but this is my weakness. And you know what? Lord knows that.
Mhm,
Lord knows this is my weakness. And
mhm.
that's, and it's a great way because he's not fake pious. There are a lot of people that try to hide their habits in Christianity and
Oh,
they're
right.
masked, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you've
You
met
just have to
them.
be naked.
We all know
Yeah.
them, you
Honest.
know,
For sure.
yeah. And,
I have
and
my
I,
vice.
I,
He absolutely
yeah,
knows it.
yeah, everybody does. I, I got one or two. If I think that the person that doesn't, they scare me a little bit. They do because the
It's
vice
denial.
that vice that they're hiding. That's the subject of a podcast that's far more serious. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely. My wife would love to listen to that one. That's too funny.
Yeah.
All
No, I
right.
hear
Question
that.
number 2.
Yeah.
Was there a specific moment in life that strengthened your belief in God? So you kind of mentioned it in your story
Yep.
when you fell to your knees.
Yep.
Would you go
That
back
was
to that
it.
story?
I mean, it, oddly enough, like it wasn't that it strengthened my belief because I always knew that Christ is real. I've known that. I've known that for, I don't know, 35
Through your
years.
dad.
I've known that. But it was something where we were never close, you know? We were never close.
Uh-huh.
And there it was. That was it. It brought me closer and it brought me back. And it was strange because like when I was a teenager, because I wanted to be a pastor, I had most of the Bible committed to memory. I'd read it over and over and over, and I had most of it committed to memory. I had flashcards. I had everything committed to memory.
Wow.
But when you're young, you don't understand it all that much. It's just you have it there, you have a verse, you know what it says, but it's hard to apply to your life because you're young and you don't have a life experience.
Right.
And in going through my divorce and everything else that I was going through, I I came across like Psalm 51, where you have David crying out to the Lord, it's forgive me, oh Lord, and it's powerful. And what was really crazy about that is I have an old Bible that was given to me by my youth pastor when I was 16. And I had, highlighted and underlined so many things in there. And it was at my house and I had no idea where it was at. I hadn't seen it for a while, but I knew it was one of my boxes of books. And when I found it and I had opened it up, Psalm 51 I had highlighted completely, from when I
So
was
it's
16, like 30-ish years ago. And it's powerful, man, because a lot of people think of the Old Testament differently. The way my church studies the Old Testament, the way we go through it, there's so much mercy and grace to be found there. And
mhm,
a lot of it is in the Psalms. And Psalm 51 is incredibly a powerful thing. But another one
yeah.
that I read that really hit me hard. And when I was able to read it and understand it as somebody who came back to Christ was the parable of the prodigal son. It's like, we
Yeah.
know the story.
Yeah.
Here he goes. He's
Yeah.
just kind of running. He's doing his life. And boom, he comes back and his dad's like, hey, good to see you again. And that's kind of how that's taught, you know? And,
There's a
and
whole
when I
party.
started,
There's a celebration.
yeah,
Like,
but the
and then
thing that, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, right? There's the other brother who
Yep.
didn't get a celebration. But the idea is you've been basking in the light the whole time where
Mhm.
he fell away. And now we're
Yep.
welcoming him back. So
The
you
way
don't
I
need a
read it
celebration.
back, well, there were two parts that are rarely taught I mean, I could be wrong in how I think other people look at it, but the way that I learned to look at it was, because this is written, 1200 years, 2000 years ago, it's written in short prose, this happened, and this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And when we read it, we read that, hey, this guy went away. He did this. He had fallen on hard times. He was living with pigs, and he came back. And you know, he comes back, and the first thing that he does that we don't talk about is he begs his father's forgiveness. He seeks atonement. He
Oh
just
yeah.
doesn't show up. And he says
No,
to
he's
his
afraid.
father, yeah, but he says to his father, I will be your servant. I will be with the pigs. And his father says, no, get up. And that's the part that hit me the hardest. You know, when you come
Mm-hmm.
back, you have to come back with the understanding of where you failed. You don't get just to go, man, I'm out of money. Oh, that was rough. You have to come back with the understanding of where you failed and how to, simply, you're looking for a forgiveness that you don't deserve and a mercy
Mm-hmm.
that you haven't earned.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a free forgiveness and a free mercy and a free gift.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is reach out for it, you know?
Right.
And the way, like the way my friend Don explained this parable to me on an even deeper level comes from the Messianic Christian, and which is,
Okay.
Jewish people who accept Christ. And he said, Brian, the really important thing that you have to understand is he was Jewish. And this Jewish
Mm-hmm.
boy volunteered to be with pigs. Pigs are unclean. He was sleeping with pigs. He was doing with this. So he had been unclean, and he was willing to continue to do this, to lower himself to be beneath of all things. And I was like, man, I guess like I didn't know that. But, I read the prodigal son now with so much of a different understanding. When you go back to the father and say, man, I know I don't deserve it, but if you'd be ever so kind, I, you know, and he's such a merciful God. He's just like, come on back, man. I know you screwed up. Probably going to do it again.
I mean,
But
your testimonial
yeah,
is just yeah, it's chilling. It's because it's so true. Instantly, when you're ready,
and
he's there.
it's
Just instant.
100% it, man. It's
Yep.
100% it. I mean, what is it? I think it's in Revelations where he says, knocking, knocking. Uh, I'll knock, but you have to let me in. I forget exactly what the verse is.
I'm around that part.
And that's where it's at. And then there's the famous painting of Christ knocking on the door. And I remember reading
Yep.
the story of that years ago. Because if you look at the painting, there's not a doorknob. There's no way for him to enter. The outside
Mm-hmm.
of the door is completely flat, and you have to be the one to open the door. And it's really that simple. He's always there. Always. He wants in. You just gotta show up, man. You gotta open the door. You gotta open the door to
Yep.
receive this gift. This gift that you don't deserve.
And
You don't
so,
have to do
yeah,
anything to
right.
get.
We want everybody to feel like this. So it's hard not to spread the warmth and the love and the gospel. It's hard not to. So, but then, right. But then you've got my religions and all this stuff. So, but
Yep.
down the line, hopefully people can feel the way we do. And hi.
No,
That's
and I
Abby.
get it.
Yeah.
See, and I listen to you, and I have a lot of respect for you when you're talking to people, and you put that out there for people and messages that you do. I don't. I tend to not do that, and it's just I don't. It's
Right.
just something that I don't do. If you want to talk about faith, I'll gladly talk about faith. I really admire the fact that you lead with that. I think that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah. It's one of those little ways, right? Just because we're supposed to. When we believe, we're supposed to, as a disciple.
Yeah.
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 Spread the word.
It's definitely someplace where I'm weak. And and I know that it's weak because I don't know if I have the words, I don't know how to
Right.
reach
It's like when you
somebody.
pray for the first time, especially out loud.
Yeah.
When you pray out
Yep.
loud, awkward. So awkward.
It is. It is. It's awkward. I remember. I remember when I was going through my divorce. I went in. I went into a nutrition place to get a smoothie because and I'm gonna brag a little bit. I'm a pretty nice guy. I'm even a decent ex-husband, Jacob. And I
I
remember
believe it.
I was talking to my ex-wife, and she was having a hard time. And there are a lot of reasons why I know she did the thing that she done. It's something we could talk about sometime. And but like her mom had a stroke around there, and she was having a difficult time. And I thought, I'm going to go get her this thing. I'll talk to her. Maybe I'll make her feel better. And I go into this place, and I just, and I was still broken, man. I was like legitimately, I was a broken human for probably 8 or 9 months before I was healed mentally. I was, I'd done okay, but like I would randomly cry. It was the weirdest thing. And I was in this place, and I was having a hard time. The people that were there, I said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, I've been dealing with this, because it was weird. Like when I was going through this, people came out of the woodwork, man, just to randomly ask me questions. And I'm also the worst person to ever ask, "Are you okay?" Because I'll tell you. Never ask me, "How you doing?" unless you really want to hear. And I return that favor. If I ever ask how you doing, I want to know. If you need to listen, you need to chew my ear for 20 minutes, you can chew my ear for 20 minutes. And I remember I was telling them what was going on, and these two people at this counter at their business said, "Can we pray for you?"
Aw.
And I said, "I would really like if you would pray for me." "Thank you." Because this is before I got involved in my church. I was praying at home, I was reading scripture, but I really didn't have a faith place. And, these two people, they laid hands on me and they prayed over me. And man, it was just like I had a breakdown in their store, but that was it, man. It was like they weren't afraid to share that faith and pray for me.
Yeah.
I thought that, it was incredibly powerful, and I love stuff like that,
It's the armor of God, right? That's what
It
we
is.
have to find. We have to find armor in his faith, where we can
100%.
feel strong going like as a knight versus, as an armadillo.
Yeah. That's 100% the true, man. That armor of God, where they talk about in Ephesians, it's a glorious thing. And like when I was young, I used to read that all the time. So I was like, "Oh, cool. That's that's all the cool warrior stuff. Let's talk about that." And
Can't wait till I get
true,
mine.
man.
No.
Yeah, can't wait till I get mine. Like, what do you mean? It's just a sword of the gospel of peace. Come on, man. Well, some steel.
So, third question.
Yeah.
This one's easy. I think I see this from you a lot, actually. How do you live out your faith in your day-to-day work and relationships?
I try to simply be a decent person,
Mm-hmm.
and I live out my faith. I don't know. I live out my faith by, I don't know, trying to live by example, I guess.
Yeah,
And I don't, like, I don't know how people would look at me as a Christian. Don't know if people would be like, "Okay, Brian's, this, and this." I don't know, I think that people that know me
believe
well
in
know a
Christ,
little bit
so-
about my faith. Yeah. Like I got a good friend who is an assistant chaplain in the military. And, talking about faith was difficult. And most of my friend group's like 20 years younger than me. And, so he would talk to me about that. And he goes, "Do you mind if I talk to you about this?" And I was like, "Well, you're the chaplain, man. I should be talking to you about this." And, but he and I will talk about that, and, and I've talked to him a few times. I'm like, "Man, you have an incredible job historically, It's like you have the job of a man who might have to run out over shot soldiers and deliver last rites. You might have to pray for a group of people that are about to see some horrific stuff. And that is the power and faith of God.
Yeah.
And you have to believe it when you speak, man. You have to sit here and you have to say these things, and that's kind of living that example. But I don't know if I could be identified by a Christian by just the way that I live. I would like to
I
be
don't know if anyone.
identified as,
Oh,
yeah, I would like to be identified as somebody who is a good, decent human being, somebody who's safe. I mean,
mhm.
I love that I got little girls that know that my house is a safe place. I've got a girl my daughter's age who comes over a decent time. She's kind of like my second 10-year-old, you know. Her
Nice.
mom had died when she was 5. She doesn't have a close relationship with her dad. She lived with her aunt, and I'm the male that she comes to for hugs and dad stuff,
Awesome.
and
Yeah.
that's a privilege. And I want people to
Yeah.
see that and then also know that Brian's a Christian. One is the same as the other. I don't do that because I'm a Christian. I do that and I'm a Christian. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of how I'd look at that.
Okay. For sure.
Yeah.
Those were 3
And
questions.
cool.
Now, family. What's one lesson about family you wish you understood earlier in life?
Oof. One that I wish that I really understood in life that I learned a
Yeah,
hard
earlier.
lesson on. You can teach your kids everything. You can lead by example. I personally like to lead by example. I have I got a policy with my children that I will never tell you not to do the things that I've done. Well, I
Right.
shouldn't say that. I will tell you to
Oh,
not do the
right.
things where I've failed and I've screwed up. But
Yeah.
if you make the same mistakes, I'm not allowed to get mad at you because I screwed up like that too. That's how I think
Yeah.
about it.
Right.
But what I've learned in life, is that you can teach your kids everything. You can lead by example. You can think that they got it all together. They're great and that you did a good job. At the end of the day, none of it matters. It's they grow and they make their own choices. And you can only hope that some of the stuff that you said sticks. Because
Mhm.
ultimately, no matter what you do, like you got a little girl who I'm going to tell you right now, until she's 11 or 12, is going to think that you're a superhero that can fly if he tries hard enough. And you don't have to do anything other than show up for that. You really don't. I mean, you don't be a bad person, but your little girl is going to worship you as a hero because
Mm.
you're dad, you know.
Right.
But one day they're going to grow up and realize you're just a person who's kind of making it up as they go along because you don't know either. And that's the reality, man. Like my son will be 26 this year. And I remember when he was 6 or 7, and he had asked me something. I forget what it was. But the words that came out of my mouth were exactly what my dad had said to me when I was like 6 or 7.
Yep.
And it wasn't like an angry thing. It was just like I had just started saying the same dad advice. Or I reached for the phone in my pocket and I just called my dad and I just go, Pop, I'm sorry. I get it.
happened.
Totally understand. You were right. You're 100% right all the time. I hung up the phone and he called me back later. He goes, what was that? And I told him and he just laughed. But that's it, man. Like and it's a hard reality to accept because as parents, we all like to think we're doing a good job. We all like to think, none of us want to think we're a screw up. But
Yeah.
the reality is it doesn't matter how good you do. Your kids are still their own people. and they're going to make
Mhm.
their own choices based upon some type of influence that isn't you.
Mhm.
And all you can do is hope that you can hope that they stay out of prison, basically. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. And that's an unfortunate reality.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to like where I've got little girls and I've got an adult son. And so I've seen that, and, and then there's also that point where I wish that I would have really understood. I wish that I would have really understood that when your kids are teenagers, they don't like you as much
Uh-huh.
because that's hard for a little bit, but then ultimately they kind of come around to, and
They just
just,
start
yeah.
treating you like
And,
crap.
well, and we all do it. We did it to our parents,
Yep.
and there's a point where you just come back and you're like, man, I screwed up. Wow. And then and then yeah, you come back to your parents and you're normal again. But that's that time in life where you think that you know everything. And we're all
Yeah,
guilty of it. And
for
everybody
sure.
will continue to be guilty of it. You just gotta kinda figure the safest way to get through it where, you know, where there's no violence, I guess. I don't know.
Oh,
And
for sure.
then the thing that I wish I understood the most, and this, but in a way I'm not, is when I found out I was having a girl. Like my dad and I are close, but my dad's never given me like life advice. I've learned by observation, and my dad will occasionally drop like some hard wisdom on me that
Mhm.
sometimes you listen to and sometimes you don't.
Mhm.
And I remember my dad. Told me this because I told you I think this same thing. And he goes, Brian, when you have a girl, it's going to make you weak, but in the best way. I was like, all right, Pop, whatever. And I've known other men, as soon as they have daughters, they've said that same thing, and they're like,
Yeah.
I didn't realize how awful I'd treated women until I looked at my daughter and went, oh man,
Uh,
I hope she never meets someone like me.
I know.
And, and when I've got my girls, like I strive that they want to meet someone like me, but,
Sure. Yeah, of course.
someone that was not like me when I was 21, you know,
Yeah, that's a hard one.
just someone who just someone who's a normal, boring protector, where they'll be safe, and I'm okay
Yeah.
with that now. I would never want them to know me when I was 20.
No, yeah, I remember my dad purposely holding back stories when I was growing up. There would be moments when, hey, remember that story? You were going to tell me that. Yep, you're not old enough. You're not old enough. Years would go by. You're not old
Yep.
enough to hear that story.
Yep.
And now I'm in my 20s, right? And I'm like, now I have to be old enough. Nope.
Yep. Well, it's weird because
Uh,
my dad would do that too. And then it was just one of those things where like I would log it in the back of my head and I'd like get the lesson later and I'd be like, oh, yeah, he's right. I
uh,
wouldn't have understood that at all.
you
No.
nailed that one. Yeah. I think like what you said, there was a light bulb moment. I think when I was 30, when I called my dad and I go, you were right about everything. I am so sorry. I love you. I am so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah.
Like sometimes that humility hits you, like that reality, like when you're angry at your parents, you don't know why. It's because you think you got everything. You got life by the short curlies. You're doing great. But then one day you
Hmm.
realize, oh, man, I don't know anything. Neither did my parents, but they got there. What other wisdom did what other wisdom did I miss? And that's the joy of life,
Yeah,
I think. It's just learning lessons.
that's pretty great. All right, question number 2. How
Yep.
has your role in your family changed as you've gotten older?
As I've gotten older, the role in my family changed because I'm a 50-year-old with a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
And at 50, that's awkward and it's weird sometimes. But
Yeah.
there's a glory in it, man. There's a glory in it. Like, I'm a better parent now than when I was in my 20s because
Right.
I really truly understand that it's okay to run in puddles with new shoes. It don't
That's too
matter,
funny
man.
you said that.
Yeah.
We were outside with leopard slippers in the mud today,
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
crushing it.
You know, like my girls know that I will dance in the rain. They know that.
Mm-hmm.
My
Mm-hmm.
girls, like but it's because life taught me that one day you're 25 and you get busy. And then one day you're in your early 40s and you're like, hold on a minute. I know I was alive. I don't know what happened in 15 years. What the hell? And when you wake up to that reality that life truly is short, you know, and like I used to, and I'm still
Yeah.
cynical. I like to describe myself as a positive cynic, which is a contradiction in terms, yes, but it's very true. I'm a very positive cynic. When I was young and I hated life, and I was angry, I was drunk. I used to think that life was too long. I was like, "Oh, it's ridiculous, stupidest thing ever." And now is probably when I'm about 41 or 42, and I've got little girls, man. And you got little girls that just fill your house with laughter, and there's laughing. And that's all that there is. It's just laughing. And it's this glorious thing when you realize that life isn't that serious. And not even today could be your last day. This breath that you take could be your last. And
Yeah.
the little tiny things, the things that you're so mad about, dirty shoes, wet socks, snow pants, who cares? They'll
Oh,
probably
what are those
live.
doing here?
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Life is short, man. It's a quick trip around the sun. You're here one day, and then the next thing you know, you're going to be dead. Live life, enjoy it.
Well,
That's it.
I want to know more about your immediate, like your family with your mother and your brother. How many
So
siblings do you have?
I've got two siblings. I got a younger brother and a younger sister. And
Got it.
my younger brother is a career felon who at his last arrest was he said some things that burned some bridges. And we had some issues. And I had cut him out of my life. And there was some anger there. There was a lot of threats of violence. And when he was using, and we have a long history of that, he and I. And he got out in January from his last bit. And I told my parents when I was up here at Christmas, I said, "Yeah, listen, Michael's gonna be living in your house. I can't be up here with him and my girls because of the things that he said and the threats that he's made. I can't take their safety and risk that." And that pissed my parents off. And rightfully so. But he's also a 48-year-old man who's only ever been in jail or lived with my parents. And he wrote me a letter. From jail. I want to say November, maybe something like that. And and I read it, and I wasn't going to read it. My dad goes, "Hey, your brother's going to write you a letter," and I said, "I'm not going to read it. I don't care." It's like, he's found Christ a dozen times in prison. It's part of his MO. Goes to jail. He
Oh,
finds Christ. My mom sends him money. He gets out. He falls out of it about 6 months later. It's a cycle. It's an angle for good time. And I wasn't going to read the letter. And I happened to And I happened to, I think it was a Wednesday maybe when that letter came. And so I had, Bible study in Awana that night. And, and I was talking with my pastors, and I was telling him about the situation. And, when he goes, forgiveness means that you can forgive him. We're commanded by God to forgive. It doesn't mean that you have to allow him to be a part of your life, because first of all, that might be a safety issue. And secondly, just because we
Right.
forgive somebody, it doesn't mean that it's a pass to hurt you again.
Sure.
And
No.
he said, but you have to read the letter, because he was using my own words against me, and it was hurtful because he was 100% correct. Where I'm talking about,
Sure.
the parable of the prodigal son. I believe that if you've wronged somebody and you know that you've wronged somebody, you have to seek atonement not only from God, but from them. A lot of people don't believe that. You can seek atonement from God and move on with your life. But you still
Well, who
have
are
to
we to
face up.
judge?
Yeah. But you still have to face up to the person that you hurt. You have to look them in the face and you have
True.
to say, I was wrong. I understand that you may or may not forgive me. I was wrong, and it was wrong that this happened. I'd like to ask for your
Mhm.
forgiveness. You have to do that. That's part of
Yeah.
atonement.
Yeah. That
And
sounds like
so he
a
goes,
normal, yeah,
yeah.
right thing.
And so he goes, that letter is him doing that to you. And I'm like, I hate that you're right. And, but he goes, you have to read it. You don't have to respond to it, but you have to read it. And I read it, and it was, I've read this letter before, but I wrote him back, and I cited some scripture, and I said exactly that. I said, listen, I forgive you, man. I forgive you because God commands me to forgive you. But I can't allow you to be a part of my life, because this is a continual cycle. I do hope that you complete this walk with Christ, and I hope that it's sincere. I mean that with my whole heart.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't be a part of my life, because it's not acceptable for me. And
What's going on with your sister?
my sister is an awesome human being. My sister should be the favorite. She is my sister is incredible. My sister is a husband to a guy who is command sergeant major in special forces. They've been married for about 25 years. She is a homemaker for their son. She's incredible. She's a fitness
That's
fanatic.
amazing.
She's one of the strongest human beings that I know. And she's incredible. I wish my sister was the favorite, because she deserved it. She really does. But it's good to see her. But they live down in Tennessee. We don't see each other that often. And
Okay.
yeah, my sister's a wonderful human being. But to finish on my brother, a couple weeks
That's
ago,
awesome.
I had a dream. I had a dream. God spoke to me in a dream, and yes, I understand that sounds crazy. I'll reiterate that. But in his dream, they said, listen, it's wrong of you to cut your brother out of your life. He needs you. You need to talk to him. So I woke up upset. I'm like, man. But again, who am I to defy God? So I got on the phone, calling my dad, and I said, I want to talk to Michael. And my dad's like, why?
What?
I was like, well, God told me I have to talk to Michael. He goes, okay. My parents are involved in a Pentecostal church up here, and it's pretty fantastic. I'm glad that they're finding faith again. It's wonderful. I'm glad to hear it. It's if you haven't been to a Pentecostal church, man, first of all, those people know how to cook, and it's like a Christian motivational speaking engagement. It's something else. It's something else. But I talked to my brother, and I just said, listen, I forgive you, and everything I wrote in that letter was sincere. God told me I can't cut you out of my life, and I need to sit with you and talk with you, and we need to learn how to repair this bridge and rebuild this trust because you're my brother. And at the end of the day, I love you because you're my brother, and we have to heal ourselves. It's that simple, you know. So it'd probably be a slow process. It'll be the first time I've seen him in there's 2021, I think, 21, 22, something like that. So it's been a few years, you know. But yeah, but yeah, my sister's awesome. She's cool, and I tease her a lot, but only when she's far enough away to where she can't pick me up and throw me. And like I remember I've told this story a few times. So it was actually this Spartan race here that I did in Clarksville, Tennessee. And my sister was doing some like monkey bar thing, and she grabbed something and she slipped, and it pulled all the calluses off of her hand. And she was like,
oh my God.
Like she was upset because like we had like a mile left or something like that. And she holds her hand up, and it looked like somebody had filleted her hand. And I go, Sarah, we gotta get you in. And she goes, no, we have to finish the race. And I'm like, I think it's okay. And she goes, no, let me finish the race. And we're at an obstacle. And so there's a medic there who she knows because he's in my brother-in-law's group. And he turns and he sees her, and he's like, because my sister's terrifying. And it's my water, go ahead. So my sister's terrifying. And she goes, Pony, come here. He's like, yes, Miss Clank, what can I do for you? And she holds up her hand. She goes, I need you to wrap this hand up. We have to finish the race. And he's like, Mrs. Clank, we have to get you off the course. She goes, we're finishing the race. She goes, yes, ma'am. She finishes the race. She has all the obstacles. And she's the strongest person I know. But during that same race, I had tendonitis in both of my arms. And I couldn't extend my arms. And there's a photo of me in the race, I'm holding my left arm like this, like I'm having a heart attack. And I couldn't, I couldn't move my arms. I was in so much pain. And here's my sister finishing this race, and she's missing all the skin off of her hand. And she wasn't even hurt. She was just annoyed by it because she couldn't lift till it grew back. I was like, what is wrong with you? You should be crying. You're a girl. I want to cry for you because it looks so painful.
How about that?
Yeah. But no, she's insanely strong. My sister, she's so strong.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Where do those how did she have all those calluses? Is it from working out? All those calluses?
My sister, I used to bust her chops all the time. I call her she's the queen of the local CrossFit cult. And but no, she's been doing. She hasn't done CrossFit for a while because she doesn't like the gym politics, and all these people are just catty, and they're all just sleeping with each other. And so, but so she built a gym in her garage. It's she should sell memberships to. But she'd been doing CrossFit since before it was cool.
Nice.
And she done that for 15 years, and she's insanely strong and tragically humble. It just tragically humble to the point where I'd be like, Sarah, you're strong. You've earned this. I'm really not. And I'm like, no, it's okay to say I'm strong. I've worked hard. That's not ego. That's not arrogance. That's the simple reality that you have put in time. You've put in effort. You've earned it. It's okay to say I'm strong. Because you are,
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember some years ago, she was really pissed off because she only squatted I got to remember, it was 235 or something like that. She was really upset that she had only squatted 235, and she had seen some other guy at the gym who squatted 600. I was like, well, Sarah, how much does that guy weigh? Okay, so you are 5'7", you weigh 140 pounds of lean muscle. You have put almost 2 times your body weight on your back. Let's talk about weight ratios, okay? That guy weighs 250, 260 pounds, whatever. He's ridiculously muscular. Yeah, he gets to lift more than you, but you put as much as he weighs on your back. You know, and he
Yes.
weighs twice as much as you. That's not a lot of things. Not a lot of people who say they can
Yes.
squat twice their body weight. You know, and
No.
that's, and she's like,
That's
yeah, I
awesome.
never thought about it like that. I'm like, well, you should think about it like that because that's the reality. You're strong. Be proud of that.
Well, there you go. Yep.
Yeah.
What does being a good father or, well, not a husband, but a good father mean to you today compared to when you were younger? Well, yeah.
I was mostly a drunk when my son was born. And he was born just before 3 p.m. on September 5th, 1999. And I remember holding him and looking down and I got a picture of this. And the only thought in my head is, I can't be like my dad.
Mhm.
I need to be an example. I need to be a good example for him. Because in life, you're either a really good example of how not to be or a good example of how to be. But you're always a good example.
Mhm.
And, you know, I guess I'd always strive for exactly that, just to be a better person that was
Yeah.
a good example. So I think that
That started with your
that
son?
yeah, like I don't think that mindset ever changed. It just, like, it evolved with different understanding. Like I still strive to do that, you
Yeah.
know. Like I understand that
Yeah.
my children will go and understand that as a man I have weaknesses and failures. But part of me, especially with being a girl dad, I really hope that my girls believe that I can still fly when they're 40 years old, you know. And that's just,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
do.
kind of one of those things. I still want to be a superhero. That's, you
It's
know,
awesome. I know. I
I don't
totally
know.
get the
That's,
feeling.
yeah, you know, and I don't think that's ever changed, you know. Like I want a I want little boys that think my daughters are cute to be terrified of me. I think that that's probably the only thing that's changed. Like I want them to be moderately afraid that I might,
Well, yeah,
you know, delete them from the earth if they do wrong. But I think that's like
kind of.
it's like a dad
Yeah.
thing. I think that I don't think that's unique about me. I think that every
Yeah.
dad, especially every girl dad, has that thought in their head. It's like, you know, I hope that
Yeah.
little boys think that. So I'm a little too doughy for that now. I'm just working on not being that doughy. So I can have that effect.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
I gave him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's I don't know. I don't think it's changed that much. I think it's
He was
I
doughy.
think that yeah. Yeah, it's true. He was doughy. He had people that would do that work. And so I don't know. I think it really only changed with the understanding that life is short, you know, and like you were talking about playing outside in the mud. That's it, man. Just play outside in the mud. People wash.
Mhm.
It's gonna be okay. Clothes rip, you can buy new ones.
Fine.
It's not a big deal, man.
I know.
Life is short. Learn how to smile
Those
and
shoes will
laugh.
be. She won't be able to fit in those shoes next month.
That's a true story, man. She's gonna grow out of those shoes, and you're gonna look at them and go, "You're so cute." You know, that's exactly what it is. You know, it's
Mhm.
like as a parent, you're like, okay, they get this stuff, and then
And then they're gonna. Yeah.
one day, man, it'll happen. It'll happen. You'll come across like that one thing that didn't get thrown away or put in a box or something that she had when she was 2, and you could still decipher what she was saying, but only you could because you hear it all the time. But now she speaks fully, and you're like, it'll make you like it'll break your heart just a tiny bit, but you're like, man, so cute, you know. Life is a great
Yeah.
thing, and it's
That
glorious.
we're in that stage right now.
Yep, I know. I heard
Yeah,
that,
we're
and it
right
was.
in that big.
I was talking with the girls about that on the drive up here, and because both of my girls were like that, like this one here, and that one over there, they were like that. You know, it's like they had that 2-year-old speak where people kind of tried to decipher what they were saying, and but
Yeah.
because you hear it all the time, you know what they're trying to say, even though, you know, to the normal person they might be able to understand about every fifth or sixth word, but
Right.
you know
Well, they
exactly what
get
she's
so
saying.
well. She gets so determined too to be understood that
Yep.
she waits for us to finally say the right statement. You're like, and then she goes, yes, you know,
That's awesome.
finally.
I can see that about her. She's a very direct talker. Like, she was trying to explain something to me in your room, and it upset me that I could only understand a little bit about it because she knew exactly what she was talking about. You know, that wasn't just
Yeah.
some little kid gibberish. She knew exactly what she was trying to tell me, and I was trying to figure it out. She is adorable.
Yeah, that's a
She
hard
is an
one.
adorable little girl.
Even my wife and I aren't sure. Did she just
Yeah.
say she's going to kill me? I don't know.
I don't know. We got to lock the door tonight. Does she have anything sharp?
Sometimes, I mean, right? Is
Yeah.
the butter knife safe?
I hope she doesn't stick me. No, I get that. I totally understand that.
I love it. All right, we crushed
Mhm.
family. Time to move on to the fun stuff. Being an
Mhm.
American. All right, so
Oh,
how we got here is important. So the questions that are going to go, we want to keep in mind everything that we talked about. What does being an American mean to you now versus when you were growing up?
growing up, an American meant to me that I simply have a right to exist. That's it. That's all that it means. All that it means. It means you have a right to exist and other people have a right to exist. How old are you, Jacob?
Yeah.
How old are you?
37.
You're 37. So it's like
Born in 88.
you were young right as this shift really started. Okay.
Okay.
And so I'm 50 years old. I've seen this country completely and totally become a systematically changed place in probably the last 35 years. You know, and people that are
Sure.
your age and younger, all this crazy stuff now, it started when you were too young to really understand it. And so it's normal for you, you
Mhm.
know? And I look at this now and I think, because especially during COVID, I used to very much believe that government could never actually affect your life. But the only thing they could do is, I don't know, raise your taxes, and you really couldn't, there's really nothing they could do, you know? And
Mhm.
when I've always been a history freak. And I used to read a lot of like medieval history. And also I did a pretty
Yeah.
deep study on communism and Nazism when I was young. I did a real comprehensive study on that. And there was a time when I wondered, how would people ever put their neighbors that they knew on a train and rat them out? How would that happen? It was something I could never understand. You know, you could read all these books, but you could never understand it because you're a normal human being that would never do that. We can't even fathom doing that. And then let's look at 2020 and masking mandates and
Yep.
vaccine mandates and this call from these people to go, maybe we should put these people in camps. And then I realized how that happened, how that ratting
Yeah.
people out under communism and you outed your Jewish neighbors who get sent to camps under Nazism. I understood how it happened. It was because you got to be convinced that you were right and they are wrong.
Yep.
And your actions were correct
Sure.
and morally correct. And you were doing something to cleanse something and be better. And it was weird, man. It was weird that we live now in a country where not only people talked about it, but no one thought it was strange. You know, like you remember that? Like these people talked about it and it was talked about in the media. You had pundits talking about it. And so now being an American, I've become weirdly more militant. And I'm a militant
Yeah.
moderate, which is the weirdest thing in the world to say.
There it is.
I don't care for the MAGA right, and I detest the woke left. Somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the middle of that
Hello.
is normalcy. You know, like I Hold on, sweetheart. Okay. So here's what I understand. Everybody in life has a right to live their life as they see fit. Everybody. In America, we each have personal individual freedom. Mine stops where yours starts, and yours stops where mine starts. We each have a right to exist in peace, though we may disagree. Like where you have a trans movement now. I don't give a damn if you want to be transgender. I really don't. I find it morally repugnant. That's me. I find it morally repugnant. But you, by all means, live your life. That's your life. What you don't have the right to do is push that on me and demand that I think it's okay. I don't have to live as part of your delusion. I don't think that's wrong. Maybe that's extremely weird for people. I believe that as long as you live your life and do no harm to others, you have a right to live your life. It's pretty simple. But
Yeah.
we live now
Right.
in a country where it's difficult to be in the center. You either have to be all in on the right or you have to be all in on the left. And being an American now is upsetting because we don't have that moderacy. We've lost the ability to have simple discussions with each other. Like, I keep a part-time job
Yeah.
selling guns. I sell guns for the discounts. It's really that simple. And I also sell the guns for the stories because the gun shop where I work is the closest one to Minneapolis. So there's some cool stuff, man. Cool stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, trans people in Minnesota are arming themselves in ways that would make most people uncomfortable. I personally think they have a right to.
Oh, nice.
Oh, dude, you have no idea. But you have the right to arm yourself because you're an American. That's why it exists. I tell people all the time in the gun store, this is a safe space to talk about all the weird shit in your head. And over the last 2 months, you know what I've learned all about? The trans genocide. That's right, Jacob. There's a trans genocide happening right now, which is why they're arming themselves because of the trans genocide that the government is putting on them. These people believe that. Like, there's a movement in this country.
They're being hunted by the government
Yeah.
now?
Oh, yeah. ICE is actually doing that. I don't know if you knew that. That's what I learned. And
I was going to
yeah.
guess that of what department is going to be ICE.
Oh, yeah. It's ICE. And ICE is coming for trans people and immigrants. And it's crazy. It's insane. And these people believe it. And they believe it because of a social media algorithm. The same way that people on the right believe the crazy stuff over there.
Glad you brought God up because,
Yeah.
he belongs in every conversation. It's
It's
crazy.
a true story. Did Rory send you that video today about Jesus and Barabbas?
About Barabbas?
Yeah. That's powerful, man.
That was
That's
good.
powerful.
That was really good.
I was reading something else about that recently, and it was interesting to see that from a preaching perspective because it's so true, you know.
I hadn't thought of him that way, but it makes absolute sense.
Yeah, it really does.
Because there's a sliver of hope in that man.
There is.
He doesn't even say anything. Jesus. While he's up there, he doesn't defend himself like at all.
Yeah. You know, I think one of the things that some pastors really miss, and that other people miss too, is they talk about the injustice that was done to Christ.
Right. Okay.
And there's an irony to that. because it must happen for it to be true.
Uh-huh.
And if it doesn't happen, then it's not prophecy fulfilled.
Exactly.
So therefore, it's not a tragedy. It's a horrific thing because it's this awful pain and suffering in its human form.
Right.
But it's
What
a
it's
wonderful thing.
right.
You know?
What it represents. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. What it's like you got to go backwards to go forwards, like all these little sayings,
Yep.
right? Like, man.
Yeah. It's I don't know, it's an interesting way to look at it. It's like if you can save him, if you can change it, then it's not the same thing. What? Yeah, go ahead. You go play upstairs. Go play upstairs. Yeah, but so if you prevent it, then that salvation and sacrifice never comes. So
Yep.
it has to happen. You know?
Yep. Yep.
It's a weird thing to wrap your head around, you know.
A boy
It's a horror
is
that
grown.
must occur for
A
salvation to
human
exist.
being is born, and
Mhm.
he is the messenger of God. He's God's son, and he realizes what he has to go through. No, it's
Can't even
mind-boggling.
imagine, man. Can't even imagine.
Mind-boggling. And then the healing powers, right? All of
Yeah.
the sight. He brought a kid back from the dead. He brought a lot of people
Yeah.
back from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's just incredible.
It is.
And then I saw after he sent me that video, there was a YouTube suggested video of Charlie Kirk and Bill Maher sitting down.
Mm.
And
You know, I actually kind of want to sit and watch that. I watch Bill Maher clips, but I don't.
yeah.
I don't watch him at all.
So this one's
Because
interesting because he's
yeah.
sitting there drinking and smoking weed while
Yep.
Charlie's just drinking Fiji water.
Yeah.
And he's really smart, Bill Maher.
Oh
but
yeah.
I think the intelligence factor drives you so far away from religion. Like it takes you away from faith.
It does. You know, it does. You know, too much intelligence is, when it comes to faith, is sometimes a very bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you
Very,
got somebody
very
like
bad
Bill
thing.
Maher. Like I actually
Well-
kind of love the conversion that Bill Maher has had in the last couple of years.
Yeah, especially politically, republicly, or I'm sorry,
Yeah.
politically and spiritually. He's given everybody a chance to interview. Donald Trump, he
Yeah.
came around and goes, he's not that bad of a guy. He
Yeah.
heard me out. I ripped into him, and he's like, okay.
Yeah. You know, I think the other side of that, though, is people like Bill Maher, where he falls short in my eyes, is he's not willing to take ownership for his part in modern wokeness.
Yeah, I know. Being that
You know?
soundboard or that microphone.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, I'm really glad to hear you denounce the idiocy of it. That's fantastic. But you still have to be there to take ownership that you were one of the people who created it.
Right, I know. And it's hard.
You know, it was like Jon Stewart had a minute there where he was kind of going down that same path.
Right.
And then he was like, oh, no, that's not where the money's at. I can't do that. So
I used to
so he
love these
backed out of
guys.
that real quick. You know, I could never take him seriously. Like Bill Maher did a movie some years ago. It was called Religious, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And
He
Bill Maher is
mentions
a
it in the interview.
Yeah, but Bill Maher is, and I haven't seen what he did there, but Bill Maher is a devout atheist.
Yeah.
And so the whole movie is about trashing of people's faiths. It's just what it is. It's to walk around and show the ridiculousness of people and what they believe and why they believe it and how they believe it. And, you know, in Jon Stewart and his fake news, like I remember when Jon Stewart was considered a legitimate news source, like the number one most trusted news source for those between the ages of 18 and 35. And there's an insanity
Before
in that.
Colbert.
Yeah. But there's an insanity that's involved in that because it shows how easy people are to manipulate, but that they also see through the bullshit of mainstream media. So that you get to go to a comedian who gets to look you in the face and go, I'm not telling you the truth. And you trust him.
And we trust it.
Yeah, because there's a mix, it's like a mix of, hey, this is real, this is fake. But at the end of the day, where I don't like comedians doing things like that is at the end of the day, you can just walk away from it and just go, I was kidding. I'm a comedian.
I've always not been a fan of that in a comedic sense. Yeah. Some things, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. It's like, no, you need to take me seriously here. But by the way, dead babies, that was funny, right?
Come on, wrong crowd. Read the room.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you can hit with just all this seriousness. And when it pushes too far, you can just walk it back and go, I was joking, maybe, comedian.
Why?
Yeah, why?
That's how I feel about reporters.
Yep.
They get all up in your face. Paparazzi. These guys, they just are relentless, and they have these legal loopholes to talk about. Well, it's legal. I can do it. I dislike you so much right now.
Yeah. It is really, it's disgusting what media has done and really what it's become.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm old enough to remember when you could trust those people. At least you thought you could.
I'm feeling at least some trust. At least I'm feeling trust towards the administration. Did you download their White House app?
The what?
The White House app. They came out with one.
Oh,
no. So it seems like a great way to just get they're taking articles from people and just every day, just putting them on there so you can see what's going on and reading the articles yourself. And that way you just don't have to listen to the noise. You can just read it.
I'll have to check it out because I have a tough time trusting anything that I consume. I don't trust any of it.
It's impossible. You've got to find a barometer, dude. I don't know how you can. How do you live without a rock of some kind, even like a pebble? Where's your pebble?
And we talked about this last time I think I talked about this. I did an exercise where I questioned everything that I believe.
I remember
some years ago, and ultimately, especially when I had a wake up from Glenn Beck, I was able to kind of see through the bullshit of all media in this weird way. And the way that I can do it is like, there are certain things that I can consume and I can read it until you get to the adverbs and adjectives. And once you get to the adverbs and adjectives, then it becomes a manipulative story.
Sure. Your opinion.
It's like I've recently had a lot of stuff pop up from the Washington Examiner.
Okay.
Which feels very truthful until you start reading more of it. And then you hit their adjectives and their adverbs and their punches. And you're like, you're not giving me information anymore. This is pure opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's opinion. So it's hard to find something to rely on when everything's opinion.
Well, you can tell a fact though, right? You can just tell when someone's like,
absolutely,
this happened. He did that.
Yeah.
They did that. We went here.
Yeah. See, like, I'll trust a legal document. The way I used to do it is, especially governmental stuff, I would go to whitehouse.gov and pull the document. Here's the document. That's exactly what it says. All right.
That's a lot of reading.
It's like, why? Because that's a legal document.
Uh-huh.
You don't get to BS me on a legal document. This is what it says.
Would you even get redacted files?
No. You can, like, for example, if you go to whitehouse.gov and whatever, and you read the executive orders or you read laws passed and you read everything, that's a legal act.
Right.
And you can take that and you can hold it against every media source.
That's basically what the app is.
Yeah. But there it is. See, I'll read the document, the original source document, but I will never read reporting on it because the reporting on it is all skew. Fox, MSN, NBC, MSNBC, Newsmax, whatever. It's all opinion-based propaganda. That's it.
Yeah.
None of it is, here's this. And so when you sit and you read it and you go, oh, You know, like I remember after the Sandy Hook shooting,
Yeah.
Barack Obama went off on this huge gun control thing because, you know, that's what Democrats do. As soon as something
Every
bad
time.
happens, we're going to take all the guns.
Mm.
And he went on this huge thing and he couldn't get anything passed through Congress. And they were hyping up on CNN and MSNBC and even on Fox, you know, Fox is, you know, the world's ending because he's going to sign this massive executive order that concerning gun control. And everybody was freaking out about it. I'm a gun guy. And I'm like, oh, he's coming to take my guns himself, you know? and like there was this big signing ceremony with survivors of the shooting behind him and this thing. And, you know, CNN's talking about it this way and MSN's talking about it this way and Fox is talking about it this way. And everybody's freaking out. So I went and I got the executive order because nobody thinks about that. You find your trusted news source that verifies your own opinion.
Yeah.
That's what you believe.
Yeah.
And, you know, CNN's talking about it's closing this loophole. Blah, 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 blah. And gun show loophole has been closed since before Obama. It doesn't exist anywhere. You have to do a background check to buy a gun. That's how buying guns work. And the executive order quite literally broke it down. It was if you took an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with standard 13-point font, it was 3/4 of a page long, if that.
That's it.
And it ultimately broke down
Some of
to
them are
say,
like books.
well, not executive orders. Executive orders are very short generally. Laws are very thick, but most executive orders, maybe a page or two, pretty simple stuff. And the executive order said, to boil down the whole 3/4 of a page, it said, enforced existing laws on the books and local or federal law enforcement must cooperate and share information with state agencies when it comes to gun control.
Oh, wow. They should have been doing that all along.
They did. That's the law.
Oh, they just said the law again.
No, they had a media thing, a media hype, a media propaganda thing, because Obama was going to take this huge thing and make this huge advance on the evils of guns. So he signed an executive order. Nobody bothered to read the executive order because that's the media's job to read you the executive order. And Fox is telling you how it's stripping your rights. And CNN is telling you how they're going to ban guns. And damn it, it's going to be so difficult. And the executive order says, you know, man, we have these laws. You guys should follow them.
You should probably follow them.
Yeah, let's enforce things at the agency level the way that we do.
What the heck?
You know, and it's silly stuff like that.
It was a reminder, an executive reminder.
Literally, that's all it is. It's an executive reminder to be like, hey, by the way, we got these things in place.
Mm-hmm.
You guys haven't been doing that.
Hey,
make sure we do that.
I mean, probably start doing it.
Yeah. Like I read some of Trump's executive orders because they kind of crack me up because he writes them with this incredible poetic flourish.
He writes them?
I don't know if he writes them, but whoever writes them
writes like Trump.
Yeah, because he's very self-important. Okay. And I think I don't care how big of a fan of Trump you are, you really have to admit that nobody loves Trump more than himself.
No, yeah, for sure.
And so all of these things are written at I read them as almost like a heroic epic. And their headlines, their titles are all just these titles. Go look them up, man. Their titles are just fantastic. And then you read it and you're like, it's a little crazy, but I understand what you're doing. You know, whereas most executive orders are very legal speak and they're pretty simple and kind of cut and dry. Trump's are not.
Well, he's trying to.
If Trump can get away with dropping an F-bomb in an executive order, 100%. If he could get away with it, 100% he would. It would, like, and it would end and be like, and I, Donald J. Trump, eat my ass. You know, he just 100%. They would all do that. He's just, you know, he's a character, man.
Yeah, he sure is. That's too funny.
Yeah, but if you haven't read any, go read some because you know
I will. That's good advice.
Yeah, that's where I can't do it because your media is so biased and so everything. Like in Minnesota, we have Alpha News. Are you follow Alpha News at all?
No, I only watch Fox.
Oh yeah, you don't watch that. It'll rot your brain. but but Alpha News is kind of set out to be anti-Minnesota media, because all Minnesota media is wildly liberal, and Alpha News came in to really counteract that. The problem is that it's MAGA propaganda is really what it is.
They just flipped it.
Yeah, that's all it is. And so what you can do is, instead of consuming this, you can consume this. And since you already believe that, you'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, and it's one of those things where
Podcasts are seeming to be just more trusting. I'm just trusting podcasts, people reading the news and like deciphering it as I would. Let me hear their opinion,
absolutely
like yours. I'd rather
100%.
understand how you're hearing this.
100%. And I totally agree with you. I think that's why podcasts became so popular, especially during COVID.
Oh, sure.
And the ones by people who are already celebrities blew up because people know their names, and you can gravitate toward those, and we do that.
Yeah.
But the forum of it is people talking about their feelings and opinions based on, here you go, this is what we have.
Yep.
And people tend to trust that because you can relate to it. Anything that you have in the media, it's going to be crammed down your throat that it's got to be either this liberal Democrat thing or this MAGA Republican thing, but that's not where people exist. People exist somewhere in the middle of that.
It depends on the topic.
Yeah, it really does. Everybody has their emotional triggers. Everybody does.
Yeah, we're pendulums.
I
each
do,
of us.
you do, everybody does.
The Democrats now are, I don't even know. There's not a single thing they stand on that makes sense. There's not a single thing they stand on that makes any sense. I don't get what makes sense.
I wish I could argue that. I wish I could argue that. It doesn't.
Not a single thing makes sense. Like what policy do they fight for that Donald Trump doesn't do better?
That Donald Trump is a devil. That's their policy. I don't know if you know that.
Oh no,
but
that's
he's also
right.
Hitler. He's a
Anti-Trump.
fascist.
We run against Trump. That's it.
Yeah, he's a fascist. And since he's a fascist, that means that you have to vote for me.
Right,
because I'm not a fascist. I don't know if you know that or not.
No, fascists don't know fascists.
That's right. It's like this no kings thing. I have pretty strong opinions about that, as I'm sure you do as well.
Say again.
And like during COVID, a lot of us who are pretty right-wing people were screaming at Tim Walz saying, the no kings thing got poached by people like me who created a no kings thing. And we got laughed at. He's not a king. I'm like, I don't know if you know this. He basically abolished the government in this state and made a committee of 5 people. That's kind of kingly. He bypasses Congress. Yes, during COVID. Did you not live here then? Okay, so I gotta remember the exact date. So basically March 2020, it was March or April 2020. And to be fair, I agreed with this initially. He was like, listen, we're going to shut everything down here for 2 weeks to flatten the curve. We're going to have work services, like everything is closed. Doesn't matter. We're closing school. We're closing everything for 2 weeks. And I looked at it and I went, that's not a horrible idea, just in case. I was like, you don't know what the hell this is. Yeah. I mean, COVID landed much earlier than they said that it did. And there were pretty large populations getting sick.
No, it was already in like January, December.
Yeah. And they had done some real damage in Italy. And so I looked at it and I went, that's not a horrible idea. I can get on that page. And then that jackass went and declared emergency powers that gives him total and complete executive control for 30 days. It bypasses Congress at every level. It shuts down the Senate and it shuts down the House. And it is a committee of only 5 people that are all his appointed people. So that's how he did it. And since Democrats had like a 2 or 3-person majority in both houses, they have to allow that 30-day period again every 30 days. So they just voted for it. And he had executive authority in this state to override everything for 18 months. And the only reason it stopped is that the Democrats lost a couple of seats, so they were able to gridlock on a budget bill. So they stripped away his executive authority after 18 months. But otherwise, he closed schools, he forced masking mandates, he allowed his friends' businesses to stay open,
He had people arrested for running their own businesses. He had a snitch line, so if your neighbors could call if they saw more than 10 people at your house, by which I think I had 4 or 5 parties where I specifically said, this will not go unless I have 11 people here. Because the hell with that guy. And that's what a lot of us were preaching at the gun store, especially, because like the gun store where I keep my part-time job was specifically targeted by Tim Walz because we told him when to get bent, we weren't going to close. And the only reason we did the masking thing there was because our owner asked really politely. And so we all got some really fantastic anti-government neck scarves.
I love it.
And so you got these No Kings people, which to be fair, I agree with on its face. I do. I think we can all get behind that as Americans. We don't want that. We don't want one party rule. We don't want
funny because it could have already been a holiday. That's what America's built on.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is on its face of the movement.
Sure.
We can all agree with the statement, right?
Yes.
I don't care which party it is. We don't want any one party, one person to have too much authority in this country. So we can agree with it on its face.
Yes.
But what it is purely no different than the MAGA movement. And I know you're not going to like that.
I don't care.
But no different than the MAGA movement. The No Kings movement is nothing but a Democrat political rally. Look at this idiocy that happened this last weekend around the country. It's Democrat political speakers that get up. It's a free concert here in Minnesota. All it is a political rally. And
I know nothing.
That's all it is.
There was a free concert? Who's there? What?
Oh, Bruce Springsteen, he was here, man. The Boss was down in St. Paul, put on a show.
For everybody?
Yeah, right down at State Capitol. The initial reports were 250,000 people show up. Now they've whittled it down to there was 100,000 people there.
Whoa.
And then there was, 20 million people that showed up for all these No Kings rallies on the 28th, and now it's down to about 8. But all it is, it's a big Democrat campaign rally that is fully and completely media supported backed. And I can't consume any of it. It makes me insane.
I can't listen to other states. I can't listen to other cities. I don't care what's going on there. It's too far away. I got off social media for 4 years. I'm off social media. I got to go back to being a kid. I can't be plugged into everybody's shit anymore. It's so much easier to just be like, no, right? Because I have no idea. And my family issues and my daughter and just being so busy. I don't, but people I think we know too much. And that started when I was growing up, when everybody was like, oh, did you hear what happened in Cleveland? A bus tipped over off an over-ramp. I'm like, oh, cool, Mom. She goes, have a nice day. I'm about to get on the bus. Why do I know what's going on in Ohio, right?
It's funny as I've let my girls have watched probably all of Stranger Things via clip on YouTube, but they never watched the show because they're afraid of it.
Well,
it's
got
adorable.
Scary monsters.
It's adorable. I'm telling you, it's so adorable. And so a few months ago, I was like, the first season was not a gory season. It had your 80s movie jump scares,
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, fine. You can watch this. We'll sit here. We'll watch this. I'll cover your eyes. It'll be cute. And my 10-year-old was like, Dad, how did their parents know where they were? I was like, baby, that's super simple. They didn't. How did you guys live? It's like, we came home when it was dark. That's what happened. We got on our bikes and we knew the boundaries, and we knew that some adult that knew us, if they saw us outside the boundaries, would rat us out to our parents, and then we would get our butt spanked.
Yeah.
And then we just showed up. And that's what happened.
It's so funny. How did they know where you were? They didn't.
Yeah. How'd they call home? They didn't.
I heard
you had to just do things where you didn't die.
I heard someone make a joke about the reminder that the parents would get on TV that would say,
yep.
Do you know where your children are?
You know where your children are. 10. I think it came out at 10 o'clock.
They didn't know. They needed a reminder to tell them they had kids.
Yeah. It was a different generation. Can you imagine? I'm 50 years old. I'm a child of the 80s. So when I first watched Stranger Things when it came out, I was having flashbacks because it nailed it, man. it nailed it on the head.
That's
Like
awesome.
everything to like the home decor with that weird wooden paneling that
Oh
everybody
yeah, and
had.
that brown.
It just the whole feel is awesome. Because I grew up in St. Cloud during that time.
Ooh,
You know, like St.
brilliant.
Cloud was the quintessential 80s like thing. It's what it was. And yeah, so like when I watch it, I just I just flash back to that. And no, your parents had no clue you were. And so, but like I think back and I go, what was it like to be them when they were kids? Oh my God. It
Right
must have been
before
even
us.
worse. They didn't even have payphones back then.
You know what really threw me? Because you know, the internet and everything, it all changed really fast growing up.
Yep.
And being accountable, telling someone you're gonna be there, right? Way before
Yep.
you bump into somebody. You could call them. Well, you
Yeah.
could write them, but that would take too long. Hey man, how do you get anything done? Well, you make a plan and you stick to it.
Yep. Yeah. It's like
That's
you're gonna be
simple.
at 9, and then at 9:05, you're like, what happened to them?
For real.
You know?
That-
Yeah.
I'm scared because what is this cancel last minute? Oh, I'm gonna text. Texting that was a hard just call me. I don't understand. It was texting with the flip phones in the beginning. I just thought, man, this is
Oh,
like
I
trying
miss
to just
that.
be dumb, like stupid pillow talk with my friends. Like it's just dumb.
Oh, I miss that so much. I love that. I could close my eyes and hit
Yep.
each of the key and never miss key. It's like 1, 1, 2. You know, it's like you're doing the
Yep.
codes or on the 9 key or whatever it was.
It got
I
way
miss that so
easier
much.
after they implemented T9 word where it kind
I
of
never used T9. I couldn't deal with it.
I loved
I hated it. I
because I
hated
got
T9.
used to it. So it's just like training your mind. It's just like
Yep.
retraining. So I get the 3 clicks. You know exactly where you're at.
Yep.
But it takes so
Yeah,
much longer.
I never
click
did
the
it.
same
I'll
thing
text the
3
whole
times.
word.
Yep.
Text shorthand still bothers me. I don't like it at all. So I will. I
Yeah.
love it. I love texting. I do. But in ways it made our society worse. It really did. You know, and it's almost too
The
much
separation.
communication. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And we're
you
giving
never get
ourselves
that
too much
brain shutdown
grace.
time.
I think grace is great, but like, oh, okay. You said you were going to be here. I'm sorry you have a stomach bug, but like you should be here. We could work on your stomach bug.
Uh-huh. Yeah, like now you gotta make up a story now, you know?
I got to remember that
It-
story. Hey man, how's your stomach? Oh, yeah, right.
Oh, I died. You don't see me right now. Yeah, but I do, man. There was something nice about being disconnected, you know?
Yeah.
But
Like you
I would
could die
love
at
to
any
like
minute and no one would know.
I would love to like wake up and realize we've been in the Matrix for like 20 years. That would be really awesome. I'd be like,
I know.
I plugged into this immediately. I plugged into
'Cause you're
this when I
such
was
a doomsday
27 years
guy.
old.
You're so
Oh,
fantastical.
I appreciate that. Thank you. No, I'm talking about like the internet, everything. Like I remember the first text message I ever sent, and I've been hooked ever since. Like that was it. Plug me
Yeah.
in. That's awesome. I love this whole thing.
Yeah.
I love having the ability to find out information about anything at any given moment. You know, like that's the
Yeah.
weirdest thing about not only the internet, like I remember the early 90s of the internet. And it was cool because you could dig and find stuff out without going to the library.
Yep.
And that was really cool.
Yep.
And now you have like the thing that you and I are looking at right now has the power of the world in it.
It's crazy.
And it weighs what, 7 ounces? Something like that.
Yeah.
It's the power of the world, and we use it to shit talk each other. That's it. You know, and spread misinformation and disinformation that is fed to us for political control instead of finding out the truth. And even if you found out the truth, you probably wouldn't pay attention to it because it's not as fun. And I don't know, man. It's
Well, let's look at
frustrating.
that's a good that's a good sentence because let's just look at Charlie Kirk's murder.
Yep.
There in this day and age, with the amount of cameras, with the amount of people with a phone, with the amount of eyes in the sky and technology, how was it so like? Was it just a perfect scenario for the shooter to just disappear? Like He had to turn himself in. His dad had to turn him
Yep.
in.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have got him.
We would have. We would have.
It's hard to say. Maybe not in that quick
No.
time. Who
Not in
knows?
that quick time.
Nobody knew
But
who he was. Only his dad
I
knew
don't
who he
remember
was,
if
and he recognized
I
the
don't
shirt.
remember if I told you this after his shooting. I don't remember if I told you this or not, but I told this to other people. I said they're going to find the guy within 5 days
Okay.
because they have to find him within 5 days.
You
Because if
did say that.
if you don't find him, bad things happen.
Yeah.
But what you do in that quick amount of time, and it doesn't matter if it's the right person, you arrested somebody. and people
Right.
can
No.
go, yeah, that's
I know.
fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, and then with this article,
But then you
the
let
other
him
day,
go, and then you start
Yeah.
looking again.
Yeah. But then, you know, but you have to do it. It's like we've been polluted by TV and movies when it comes to quick answers. You know,
Yeah.
it's like we need the resolution by the end of the show's runtime. And that's just not reality, you know?
What is your take on this bullet?
I showed you that article the other day.
Yeah, there's
And-
another one today. Someone showed me about how it
See,
was.
I didn't see that. But what I first thought is there's two probable things. Number one, the conspiracy theories are right, which is a bad thing. And number two, it behaved like a bullet because we don't know what kind of bullet it is. Okay.
That's the question.
Now, here's the thing. Okay. So do you have one firearm or do you have more than one firearm?
I have 2 firearms, thanks to you.
Yeah, well, thank you. I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 different calibers of rifle bullet in my house. Okay. In 5.56, I have 5 different bullet types of 5.56 that all do different things. In 308, I have 4 different bullet types that all do different things.
Okay.
In the .6 that he was shot with, and when I heard the shot, I went, "That's a 30-06 from a bolt rifle." And I listened to bullets. I'm a kid from the woods. I know what a 30-06 sounds like.
Okay.
That's a 30-06, and I knew that immediately. So there's a different variety type. So if the bullet fragments, that means that it's most likely either a soft tip hunting bullet, like, so if the bullet hits, it will mushroom and fragment. That's what it's supposed to do. It dumps its energy immediately and it disperses. It's designed to not over penetrate. So when it hits an animal, it does this and it kind of stops. It can come out the other side, but it drops down.
Right.
If he shot him with a full metal jacket round, because initially they had said that they couldn't find the bullet, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, well, I mean, that makes sense. If it was a full metal jacket, then it's just going to go bam. It's going to go right through, and you're never going to find that thing. When I'm surprised it didn't hit somebody.
There's no exit wound.
Yeah. And then they said, well, it stopped in his neck. And I said, okay, that makes sense. Then that makes it either a soft tip bullet or potentially a polymer tip bullet that's a hollow point because it's designed to do the same thing.
Gotcha.
It dumps its energy and it stops. So when it hits the neck,
Yeah.
it's going to stop in the neck. It's going to break his neck, and the bullet potentially can fragment.
Okay.
So, like, I have for 308, and I gave some of these hunting rounds to my buddy a couple of years ago. They're copper monolithic hollow point hunting rounds. So the whole bullet is made of copper. It's one piece of copper. It's got a hollow point. When it hits, it turns into like a reverse parachute. So it's supposed to come to a stop. It dumps its energy.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, my buddy shot a deer and I process all that stuff. We process it up at the house. My buddy is an engineer, is exceptional shot. And so what it does is it's supposed to dump its energy and stop, but it's still going to travel a little bit. So he said, I hit this deer square at 90 degrees and we're cleaning it out. I said, no, you didn't. He goes, this bullet went in and it turned left right away. I said, it did not do that. It can't do that. Said it can, hit, it's going to hit that liquid, it's going to turn to the left, but it's not going to go like this. It's just not going to happen. So I said, you shot the deer at an angle, and that makes sense. But we couldn't find the bullet, like at all. It didn't pass out, didn't do anything. And so I'm following the wound track because, I mean, this thing is devastating bullet. It hits the front shoulder. It moved along the rib cage, along the spine, and it shattered about 7 or 8 of the first rib cage bones right at the top. Just destroyed him completely. Broke the back, went all the way down, and so he hit it. It would have been, so if the deer's standing right next to you, it would have been its right front shoulder. So the
Okay.
bullet goes in and it travels down his body, and we're cutting it up, and I'm the left hind quarter. I look down and I see something kind of shiny. There's the bullet. It had traveled about 24 inches and buried itself in this deer's hind quarter. And I pulled
Wow.
it out, and the whole bullet was still completely intact.
What?
Some of the pedaling had disappeared a little bit,
Because it was
but
all meat?
yeah. But otherwise, the whole bullet was still intact. It's about this big. It's got a little flower head on top of it, and it had shaved off some of his petals. But that bullet is designed to do exactly that. Some bullets are designed to disintegrate, and they generally have a lead tip. So when I read the thing, then it's like, well, it's because of this. That makes sense. But all the headlines very misleading. The bullet doesn't match. The bullet doesn't match, and we all want to believe the bullet doesn't match because then Candace Owens is right, and it's some kind of Mossad French Foreign Legion thing, and they got on a private jet and skipped town, and that's insane.
They're getting
You
really
know, the-
close, though.
Yeah, but the
kidding.
reality of things,
I'm just
the
kidding.
reality of things is we like to believe that we live where it's hard to get away with stuff, and that's just not true.
Yeah, it's incredible
it's
to me
not. It's
that we
we
can
like
still
to
get away
believe
with
that
things
we
today.
have. Yeah, we have this illusion of security.
Yeah.
It's harder to get away with things now, but
But-
it's not impossible, I mean, and if you're willing to take a shot like that, odds are you're willing to get caught, It's like you look at that kid that took a shot at Trump. He was willing to either get caught or get shot. You're not getting away from that. There's a crowd of several thousand people there. You're not
but he
getting
did.
away. Like,
But he did.
no, they killed that kid, stone dead.
No, not the Trump shooter.
Yeah, but he didn't get away. He got caught. That's what happened. He shot into a crowd and everybody ran. That's what happens.
His dad turned him in.
And we don't like to believe it's that simple because we want to believe it's more difficult than that. And it's not.
Yeah.
But we like
We
to
want it to
believe
be
it
more
is.
complex. We want it to have some
Absolutely.
grandiose story.
Absolutely. It's like that Luigi Mangione thing. We want it to believe this. We want to believe something great, grand, but it's probably just some dude who's kind of nuts, who's like, that guy, and finds out he's in New York and walks him up and shoots him in the back of the head.
Yeah,
Those things happen.
He's locked up near Maduro.
Is he?
He's in the same
Are they,
high security in New York.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a strange one too, And I can't follow it because it's too sensational, I can't follow it.
Yeah.
Like I'll learn someday what happened to it. Yeah, that's about it. Like, oh, they convicted that guy? Awesome. Okay. Are we having a sandwich today? Yeah. It's like nothing changes, It's like what changes,
When you were growing up, were you more Democrat?
No. Like
Always kind of.
it's funny. It's like, did you watch Stranger Things in any way, shape, or form? Did you watch
Yeah, I
it?
watched the first couple seasons.
Okay, so season 2, they've got like the Reagan Bush yard signs around there. And it was really funny because it kind of shows how popular the Reagan Bush thing was. Thus far, they've shown one Mondale Ferraro one. And so I was in 3rd grade during that election. And there was a girl in St. Cloud. Her name was Lead Ekblad. I had a huge crush on Lead Ekblad. And during that election, it seemed like every day she wore a Mondale Ferraro shirt to school. So I very much supported Mondale and Ferraro because Lead Ekblad like Mondale and Ferraro. But I was 8 years old, Like my dad was an old school DFLer. And he was very upset when Reagan won the first time because, my dad was a DFLer, but it was a different time. Nobody was burning anything down because of this or that. You know, we weren't claiming that the person that was elected is an evil fascist, or this one's a communist. You know, we weren't doing that. You know, that idiocy didn't start until, I don't know, Obama. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
that was the first time anything that stupid occurred in my lifetime. You know, we're screaming that this guy's not a citizen.
That was
Or
Trump.
he renounced his. Yeah. Well, no. Trump didn't do that about Obama. I don't think
He kept
Trump
saying that he
was a
didn't have a
birther.
birth certificate. I remember that.
Did he? Was Trump a birther? I don't recall. But you know, that was like the first time in my lifetime when you saw anything really that stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was this political party hate against each other, and it just kind of rose at the same time of social media, because social media creates this anonymity where you can just type hate at one another. You know,
They just got they just got sued. They just lost a huge case. It's
Mhm.
not about the content, it's about the features. So they got sued.
The Facebook for like making teens addicted or something like that.
And YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
The algorithm makes them
Yep.
addicted. And it's not because of the content, it's because of the features.
Yeah, I can see that. I've been saying that for a while. Like TikTok was developed on that algorithm. Like that's what it was designed to do.
Yeah, exactly. And they treat it like like a slot machine.
Absolutely.
That kind of engagement minus
Yep.
the the lights, and it's all there, colors,
100%.
instant gratification.
100%. It keeps you passively attracted. You know, I remember I used to say that about the cable news all the time when I was working in casino business. We had TVs everywhere, and you could never watch or you could never hear it, but you watch it on mute. And so I became crazy from watching the cable news on mute for
On
probably
mute.
about 8 years. And it was all the time. You're inundated because that's all everybody wants to watch. They want to watch
Yeah.
Fox or MSNBC or something like
Yeah.
that.
So you're
And
just
I would
reading
rant
the
about
ticker.
that. I would rant about that constantly. The flashing lights, the poof, and this light, and the headlines of fear. You know, like I used to take pictures of them from CNN, where it would say, like in January, of course, it would say 144 million 144 million people in the U.S. affected by extreme cold, and people in Minnesota would go, oh my god, and you go,
They're
well,
talking
yeah,
about us.
January. And I don't know if you know this, 144 million people is about half of the country, give or take, and about half of the United States is subject to winter. So yeah, you know, or like screaming about heat in July. Like, well, yeah, I don't know if you know this, it's July.
And that's the No Kings people, in my opinion,
Yeah,
is they're
100%.
either uber intellectual, an atheist,
Yep.
and question everything, or they're just soundbite enthusiasts and don't know how to let or look any deeper.
Well, the soundbite, like Rush Limbaugh used to talk about the soundbite. And it was I forget what he called it. It was a 7-second something. But that's what it's designed to do. Like, I'm sure they've done studies that prove that everybody has an attention span of about 7 seconds. So you hit them with this quick headline and they go, oh.
Yep.
And
then
that's where it is. It's like, I
you
don't know
get-
what your runtime is on this episode is going to be, but a couple hours, dude, nobody's sitting to listen to anything. You know, I tried to listen to one Joe Rogan podcast. I didn't know they were 3 hours long.
Dude, Sean Ryan just had a 12-hour podcast.
Was it separated into chunks though?
I don't know, probably.
You know,
3
like
hour
I'll
chunks.
listen. Like, so I do Patreon for one thing. It's called Small Town Murder. #out to Small Town Murder. I
There you
love
go.
that show. It's
There you
great.
go.
Crime and Sports. It's spectacular. They run these 2 shows. I listened to 10 hours on Evil Knievel. In hour and a half chunks during a commute. I'll listen to that all day.
There you go.
I'm not going to sit down and listen to 10 hours on Evil Knievel.
Nobody
You know?
does. You
I
do it
mean,
in passing, right?
yeah, you
do
do
it
it
in
in
driving.
chunks, you know.
Yeah.
But if it's like a serious show, I think because I listened to Joe Rogan's interview of JD Vance because I thought that was pretty fascinating,
Oh,
and I
I
even
haven't seen
listened
it.
to his Trump interview because I thought that was pretty interesting too. I
I gotta
thought that
see
was
that
cool
too.
that he had him on the show. It took me 4 days to listen to it. You know, like I'll listen to that bit here, listen to this bit here. All right, cool. I'm gonna sit down. I'll listen to all 3.5 hours of this. That's
Right.
too much.
I know.
You know, but
I'll
yeah,
listen to
you're
podcasts
100%
and
correct.
watch TV.
Yeah, I think podcasts are like the new talk radio for old people. You know, like back in the day, that's all old people listen to, and that's 100% all I do. I listen to
Oh yeah.
podcasts. And I can't remember the last time I turned on a radio station. And if it is, it's accidental. You know, it's just I don't listen to it all anymore.
I only listen to 1010. Ring a ding
Really?
radio. Yep.
Nice. That's pretty
Stock
cool.
Rapid St. Cloud.
Yeah, for me back in the day in St. Cloud, it was 104.7. Little KCLD. That was great. You
Yeah.
know. But back in the 80s was the best show. But no, you're 100% correct about liberals, man. And they advertise themselves at that too. They're more educated than you, Jacob. They're far more educated than I.
Their noses are up
Yeah.
and they always laugh
They're-
at the other party. They're always laughing.
They're far superior to you.
I know.
And-
Because I'm just naive, right? No, I'm
Yeah.
literally dumb.
You don't know anything. I don't know if you know this. I have a degree.
Oh, I know.
I used to I used to get flexed on that all the time. And honestly, it would play a little bit to my inferiority complex. I'd be like, am I wrong?
Absolutely,
do
you
have-
get to thinking like that. And
I
then
do have a
that's how they
degree.
catch the soundbite. That's how the soundbite people get caught.
Yeah.
Because the intellectual people are using them as just pawns
Absolutely.
and saying, I'm going to convince you with my intellect.
Mm-hmm. You know, and in the reality of that is, I mean, I haven't kept up in the last few years, but I listen to these arguments and I go, I've read everything that you cited.
Mhm.
You're wrong.
Mhm.
I've read the same thing. I've read all of your philosophy. I've read all of everything that you put out there.
Yeah.
You're wrong. You just get to flex it because you have a document that says that you paid a whole lot of money for it. It's like that speech way back in the day in Goodwill Hunting where he was, like talking about whatever. It's like, I can learn everything you do for $3.50 in late charges at the library or whatever,
Right?
I forget what the hell it was. But yeah, but they flex that and we feel it sometimes, and I don't know. I can't
That's why
argue with
Charlie
them. I
was
can't argue with
crazy.
them.
The fact that he was a self-taught, I see you,
Yep.
autodidact.
Yep.
I learned that word from him. Just like how else to fight evil? How else to fight the stupidity? Or let me just use a big word and then say that word 9 more different ways to talk circles around you.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, you're 100% correct. That's
Frustration.
how that argument does. It's about trying to demean you in some way, shape, or form. And
I was absolutely on their bus. I voted for
Yep.
Obama. I was absolutely on their bus all growing up. I don't think my first time voting was in my 30s because my dad kept putting my ballot in for me. So
oh, really?
that was illegal.
Yeah, that's illegal.
That was illegal. But he goes, hey, I voted for you. Sweet. Okay, cool.
That's fantastic. That's
And
fantastic.
it's the same in my family. So you can be new to politics, and
Mhm.
I hate it. Got me. So when you're new to politics, you don't know enough to understand enough, even though the form, the law is the law, the form is the form. I know English. I can tell what it is. I understand what they're saying.
Yep.
But I'm new. So I don't understand the
Yep.
nuances of it all, right? I haven't been engraved this the sickness yet. And that's what they want. They want you to be, oh, no.
Absolutely.
Because, hey, if I'm new and I'm like, yeah, no, for sure. Oh, I like that. Absolutely. They're like, I'm bored. You know what? You're a captain now. Let's go start a rally.
A little bit. We I'll fully admit, I wanted to be on Obama's train. I did 100%. I wanted to support. We will in just a minute when I'm done. Okay. What do you want to say?
Sorry, Abby.
I'm gonna go back to his house.
We will. But I wanted to support Obama. I really did because he was new and unique, and I thought that was really fantastic. You know, I think I'd said this when we last spoke. I wept when I was forced to vote for George Bush in 2004. I wept because I only had 2 choices on the ballot, and I couldn't not turn in a ballot. I didn't even write it, but I wept in the polling station.
That's
And
crazy.
I wanted to support Obama because I had no idea who the hell he was. And I thought it was a unique thing. It wasn't because he's black. It wasn't because he's a Democrat. It was something unique. He's a good speaker, you know?
Yeah.
And I went out and bought his book. I forget what it was called. The Audacity of Hope, I think is what it was called.
Okay.
And so I went out and I bought his book. Like, cool. How you get to know a guy? I'm going to read his autobiography. He's a racist. That's all he is. He's just a racist. And I read the whole book and went, that guy's a racist. I can't vote for
Great.
that
So
guy.
he's just supporting black people.
It wasn't so much that, it was more over a disdain for white people. It was Obama
white
was Obama was the beginning of wokeness, you know.
Sure. There it is.
And-
I think you nailed it. Yep.
That's it. He was the beginning of wokeness. And I remember as I worked in the casino business there, and the beautiful thing about that, especially when you're a poker dealer, you're in a room of 400 totally and completely diverse organically people. Organically, the most diverse crowd you will ever exist in the world is a casino floor. You know, I could be dealing poker. There's a high stakes game. There'd be a high stakes game. I had a former Colombian drug lord, a murderer, 2 of the wealthiest men in Minnesota, one of the richest men in the country at the same damn poker table. It is
crazy.
organically and wildly diverse.
Yeah.
And in that time, you had all of these urban black people. They're wearing the Obama long shirts and everything like that. And I was like, okay, cool. That's your thing. That's awesome. I'm glad you're participating. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But you couldn't have a conversation with people because the only rebuttal was, you're racist. I'd be like,
Yeah.
no, I'm really not a racist.
You don't like
I don't
because
like
you can't
this policy
you don't want a black
because
president?
of X, Y, and Z.
Well,
But yeah, but you
and
don't want to. You're a hateful person. I'm like, no, that's not it at all. I kind of wanted to vote for him.
that was hard to get Kamala. I mean, granted, Trump was a shoo-in, but the Kamala thing, there was people voting on her. Well, she's a black woman. And
No, she's not a black woman. I don't know if you know this, but she ran as the first Indian woman to hold a senatorial seat in California.
Huh.
That's what she ran on.
an
And
Indian
that's what
woman.
they talked about her as. You can look it up. You can look at those old tricks. It's not a thing about blackness. She is the first Indian woman to hold the seat
Native
in
American?
California. No, Indian with a dot.
Indian.
Because her
India,
mother-
Indian.
Yes, her mother's Indian. Her father's Jamaican. She's the
What?
first Indian to hold a seat.
Well, and
Look
she's
it up,
black.
man. It's right there.
But she's
And,
black
you
too
know-
because her father's Jamaican.
No. It depends on which office you're running for. Because in California, the black thing doesn't do that there
Doesn't
because
track as well. I
because
think
diversity.
nationally,
Yeah. Once you get it on the national stage, you get all the suburban white
Now
women that are
you're
like,
black.
oh, yay. And that's how that works. So you just sell her different. That's all you got to do. We're not going to talk about her Indian side again because
Yeah.
the national level doesn't care about her Indian side. The
Right.
national level cares about that she's a black woman. That's it.
All right,
And
we
so you
haven't
sell
done
it on
any
like
of
that.
these questions yet, so let's just fire them off real fast because
Oh,
I know
go.
we've talked all over everything already. But
Yep.
you got your girls there, so they're pretty fresh. Like these questions are about a lot of that. What does being an American mean to you now versus when you were growing up?
When I was a kid, my favorite song was the Star Spangled Banner. It's a true story.
Cool.
Whenever I would drive by a flag wherever I was, I'd try to sing the Star Spangled Banner before I could not see this flag anymore. It was
Fun.
weird. But I I love this country, man. I do. I love this country. I'm 50 years old. I still identify as Captain America. It's I do, man. What this country is great because of the people that are here.
Yeah.
It's great despite its government. The
Right.
the government of this country does everything it can to make this country worse. I don't care who's in office. The beautiful thing about this country is that you get to do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And so being an adult, I got to pay taxes. I think that's stupid. But, you know, we have it simply means you have the right to exist. You know, when I was a little kid, I didn't think about it anything more than beyond it's a Star Spangled Banner, Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. That's how I thought about it. As an adult, being an American is I don't know. It's just it's still simply existing. In as much as I detest liberal wokeness, I I believe that you have the right to do that. You know,
Yeah.
and I want you to do that. That's
Right.
beautiful because that's what our country's about.
Yeah.
And and we should never be as polarized as we are. It disgusts me
Mm-hmm.
to see this country that I love in the
Mhm.
condition that it is in, to where you've either got to be all in here or all in there, or you are nothing because you don't belong. That
Yeah.
disgusts me.
Yeah. Yeah. What values do you think are most important to the next generation to hold on to?
Pragmatism. We need to bring back pragmatism. You know, the values that we have are really very much liberty and justice for all. I
Mm-hmm.
believe in that. I do. I believe in it. I know it's naive, but I believe in it. And we have to do that. We 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 have to be the lighthouse for the world. And yeah, I know that's American arrogance. I know that. But that's what we are.
If it's not us,
And that's what we have been.
yeah.
I was listening to there's a great podcast called School of War. And on there was a guy, I forget what it was, but he was talking about the hegemony of America. And the reason that we are great is because we are the leader of this world. We are. And if we are not, no one else can do it because everybody else has a problem. Like China can't. China's a communist nation. They can't lead it. They're too polarizing. Europe is Europe. They're all their thing. No one of those nations are strong enough to lead. We in this country are a beacon of shining light for the world, and we have been for damn near 100 years. And we should be that at all times. We want that here. I mean, we
Mhm.
got some things we got to clean up. We
Mhm.
really do. We got some rough edges, but that's what we should be. We need
Yeah.
to be. We need to be that. We need to be the nation that people want to go to.
Yeah.
We need that.
Yeah. We got to stop having 15 deaths in the south side of Chicago and make it normal
Yeah, but I mean, to be
every
fair,
weekend.
I don't
Every
know if
weekend.
Chicago's ever not been like that.
How
You
yeah.
know?
So that's ridiculous that I was born in an area of like Cabrini Green. Don't go over there. You're gonna die this weekend.
You were born in Cabrini Green?
No,
Oh my
no.
God. No, but like you're 100% correct. But if you look back on the history of Chicago, that's the Chicago way, right?
Yep.
Violence, corruption, a little bit of a kickback,
The
and
mob.
a guy,
Yeah.
and a guy winds up in the river.
I know.
That's
But that's
a
part of
foreign
it.
concept to me.
Bringing people in, being inclusive, but also assimilating. I think that's necessary.
Yeah, 100%. You have to be assimilated to it.
Yeah. You can't keep you can't keep your country's values here because that's why they're there.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no.
Religious. I don't know.
You can keep your country's values to a degree because that's who you are. But at the end of the day, you're still an American.
Traditions. Yeah.
Yeah, your
music,
traditions.
art.
But you're not there anymore. If you like it that much, go be there because that's what you want. You
You
know?
don't need to stay here if you hate it that bad.
Yeah. I mean, it every place in Minnesota, every place in the United States has a unique culture because of some foreign influence.
Yeah.
We just are. That's why Minnesota has horrible food. There's too many Germans and Scandinavians. The food is awful.
Well, we would be
So,
so many, like Europe, we would be so many different little countries if we just
yeah,
let Europe come over here and just colonize whatever they wanted.
absolutely. I mean, and somehow it works. In
Yeah.
the history of the world, we are unique. We are wholly and completely unique in the history of Western civilization.
Yes. Agreed. And we need to cherish that.
We
250th
do.
anniversary. It's
Yep, that's a big deal, man.
it's a big deal.
It
And
is.
for some reason,
it is.
in the last couple of years, I've never understood the severity of it until now. Because it's like the veil got pulled out from under me. This last election, there was so much back and forth. I'm like, what? How is there so much anger? What do you guys? And then okay, let's break it down. Republicans they're fighting on no transgenders in women's sports, abortions being state laws or like state run, their border security, fiscal responsibility. All of this is yes, yeah, right. And then Democrats are like, what do you stand on? Not doing what he wants. Like, can they honestly think that women, like the Olympics just had to say you can't have a certain level of testosterone in your body, even though maybe you were born with it, because that's not an even playing field.
I'm at this age and I'm excited to flex this. I really am. 25 years ago, you know what? 30 years ago, somebody would have bullied you until you cried
Oh yeah.
if you said boys can have babies. And now it's a political movement. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. You can go, yeah, you're going to sex change? Okay. No, you can't play in girls' sports. Why are you letting that 13-year-old believe that he's a girl? What the hell is wrong with you? I don't care if you were right or left.
Why aren't you telling the parents that their kid is going to get hormones replacement because
Insane.
they
Purely insane.
think they know better for someone else's what?
Yeah. Trans care is not healthcare. It's not. I'll die on that hill. I don't care what it costs me in the world. Trans care is not healthcare. There's males, females, and people that have birth defects. That's it.
What about conversion therapy? Remember how it's so evil. Conversion. Here, there's the flip side, ain't it?
I got a mirror on that one, actually. If you can't allow conversion therapy to where you can sit down and go, by the way, you're not a girl.
Yeah.
Then we also have to get rid of the therapists that look at parents and go, are you sure you don't want them to make this choice? Because if you don't, they could kill themselves.
Oh my gosh. That's the same thing.
And conversion therapy goes both ways, man. It does.
Yep.
If you ban one, you have to ban the other.
Yep.
So if you're going to say we can't talk them out of it, you can't talk them into it. That's how that works. That's how I look at it anyway. But I understand that's not how the Colorado rule is written, because you're walking some confused or, some hormonal 13-year-old girl or boy in there that is just confused in life. And we all were, man. When we were 12 or 13, we didn't know what the hell we wanted to be. I
think.
And now you get to be a girl? That's weird. But you know what?
Mean, in high school, 2 years in a row, I dressed up as a girl for Halloween.
That's awesome.
If that was an option growing up, they'd probably told me, bro, you should probably go talk to somebody.
Yeah, we're going to get you on some puberty blockers now.
Yeah, we're not going to tell your parents either.
We're going to get you some estrogen and affirm your life.
Uh-huh.
That's crazy.
You're going to have some good-looking legs.
We all change. Yeah, we all change. It's like it is absurd to me in every way, shape, and form that even as a parent, because like if you're under 18 years old, you really don't have any legal rights. Like you got legal protections, but you can't have a credit card, you can't vote, you can't get an apartment, you can't own anything, but
Oh,
you
but
can decide to change your gender.
yet,
And
yeah,
your parents can help you
you
decide.
can't even
And
get pierced or a tattoo.
yeah, you can't legally get tattooed or
You can,
pierced, but you can go ahead and have a sex change operation.
yeah, that's
Where
hilarious.
is that is the most illogical thing on the face of the earth. And these trans kids don't exist in the same way that your cat's not a damn vegetarian.
Look, there's
That
gay
is
Republicans.
the log cabin
Don't
Republicans, I'm going to tell you right now, are a spectacular group of people. And everybody
absolutely.
should listen to them because they're amazing. They're logical human beings. And none of them are out there going, we're here, we're queer, deal with it. They're like, yeah, by the way, we're gay.
Hey, good. Hey, good on you, man. Life's
Yeah,
great.
I am a huge fan of the log cabin Republicans. I love what they're doing. And
The opposite wants us all to be like them.
yeah, and that's the biggest problem.
Talk about no kings. You want us all to live your lives.
Yeah. 100%. We not only live your lives. That's it, man. That's 100% it. You're
You
correct.
just
They
want me to
us to
be
live their lives.
comfortable with this uncomfortableness all the time.
Yeah. I have to acknowledge you as something that you're not. I have to be a member of your delusion. And that's crazy.
That's the
Like
Matrix.
it is, man. I'm not a member of your delusion. And you know, trans is simply a really, really horrific social movement
Yeah.
that I don't understand, man. And I don't want to understand it. But the other side of it is if you want to do that, if you're an adult,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Right.
I respect that about you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
If you're
Knock
uncomfortable in your
yourself
own
out.
skin to the point
That's
where
right.
you don't feel in the mirror that you're representing, like go ahead, absolutely for it. I have an aunt who's been my aunt all my life, and I did not know she's my uncle.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. All my
Wow.
life. She's
Yeah,
been
that'd be trippy, man.
she's been my aunt with another aunt, so they're together. And then I've got a gay uncle who adopted a black baby from New York while he's in California. Like, it's a very diverse group of family.
Wow.
A lot of us are adopted. Like two of my aunts are adopted, and it's those kind of. There's people out there that she's never forced it on us. She's never been. And look at me calling her a she because she's been my aunt my whole life.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
That's just look. That's keep it to yourself. There's no need for you to be going in my bathroom and swinging it around, being like, I belong here. No.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. Like that's 100% how I look at it. It's your right to do that. That's your right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to accept it, but I have to allow you to live. I hate the term your truth. I think that's absurd.
No, that's a dumb word. There's only one truth.
But I have to allow you to live with your freedom to live how you want to live.
Okay.
Because that's what this country is.
We don't trample on each other's freedoms.
But you have to allow, yes, go ahead. But you have to allow me to also live the same way.
Yes.
And
that's where we're at.
We've lost that completely.
Yep.
You know?
And that's where we're at.
I 100% fight for the rights of trans people to be trans people. But you don't get to impose your values upon me and my children at all. I don't want to see your trans flag in my school. I don't want to see it recognized anywhere near in public. If you're going to fly it on your house, that's your house.
Yep.
You have the right to do that.
Yep.
It doesn't belong in a government building. Doesn't belong in a media station. That's a flag that represents you. That's it.
It's a sex thing.
You don't get to impose it on me.
Keep the sex out of the public.
Yeah. That's 100% what it is.
That's
You know,
it.
live your life, and shut up. You know,
No one's really that angry at you, man. No one's really taking so much from. I'm sorry that your life needed like something to fight for. I get it. You needed
Mhm.
something to hold on to because you don't have Jesus. If you
Yeah.
just focused, maybe found someone, hopefully someone finds you and Jesus puts his hand on you and says, I'll be your rock. You can just follow
Yeah.
me. Because they're holding on to these people ideas.
Well, they are, but you have so many churches now that are getting into the gender affirming,
I
and
know. They got to knock it
there's a lot
off.
of them in Minnesota, man,
They got to knock
and
it off.
yeah, and that's not a good
No.
thing. So you can latch on to that. You know, you can cherry pick your Bible by your Bible verses and pull some things out,
Yep.
and you know you can be like, you know, I can't even speak it because it's blasphemous. You know, and but it bothers me. You know,
Yeah.
it's like here's the deal: you can live your life, you can have whatever you want to do, but at the end of the day, that's the crossing of the line right there.
Yep.
Even
Yep.
even when I wasn't devoutly religious, even when I didn't have a strong faith, I felt that. Like
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about a lot, but I knew though that the Bible says that you can't do that. And
Those are
so if you're going to
laws
follow it, you
the
can't.
atheists hold on to. They're just not
Yeah.
admitting the fact that doing good to others is a biblical law. It's not something like, oh, I just decide not to murder everybody today because I'm not in the mood.
I've had that argument with atheists, and I've truly only ever known one that was intelligent enough to have the conversation to defend that.
Defend it
The
or
re-
just say, okay,
no,
I
defend it.
see where you're coming from.
No, defend it. He was the only person intelligent enough to defend his atheism.
Huh.
Because the vast majority of atheists aren't actually atheists. They're simply anti-religious.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that the word atheist means that you do not have a religion. It's in the word that you don't have a religion. That means that you take a stance against a religion.
Yeah.
That's what the word means. You can look at me and say, I don't have the same faith that you have, and I don't believe that.
Yeah.
And we can have a conversation. That's your choice. You've made that choice. That's cool. But atheists like to go, Jesus was fake. They have to convince you to convert you to their belief. It's its own religion. And they have to convince you that yours is wrong.
Yeah. And there's
And
nothing to back their thought process. The only
Yeah.
thing that backs their thoughts are questions. Well, there's a lot of unknowns. Absolutely. You're not wrong.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of faith
100%.
in regards to what we do. There's a lot of
Yeah.
historical fact with
Mhm.
our belief as well. You don't have any of that.
Yeah.
We know people exist. Pontius Pilate existed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. And now
It is, you know? I mean, you can look at the Bible in a few different ways. You can. If you judge the Bible purely on philosophy, it's an incredible philosophical text. It's amazing. For some years I did look at it as a philosophical text,
yeah.
and it's awesome as a philosophical text.
Right.
In the last 4 years I've definitely come back to it as something far, far more
And
than a
right.
philosophical text.
It's
know?
truth.
It is. It's truth and it's grace. And you know, we've had that discussion on grace. And you know, and now we're sitting in a Holy Week, you know. And you know, tomorrow's Good Friday. And I hadn't thought about the crucifixion that much, you know. It's like you think about it a little here and there. And like you ever watched The Passion of the Christ?
I saw it for the first time a month ago.
So I watched it when it first came out in theaters. And I went to a theater with the woman I was living with at the time. And she and I had never had a conversation about faith. Because I mean, that was definitely during my time where it's like, yeah, Jesus is real. I believe this. That's great. But I was never, I had no practicing faith in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And I remember where I was sitting in the movie theater up by White Bear Lake. It was just outside of White Bear Lake. I remember where we were sitting in the movie theater, and she like buried her head
Oh,
into my shoulder, and she was weeping with this conviction and
Yeah.
guilt, watching like the flogging and the nailing into the cross. And I remember I there is not a lot of movies where I've wept. Most of them are Mel Gibson movies, ironically. But you know, that one, it's so powerful. Like it convicts you, and it's supposed to,
Mhm.
you know. And I think I started doing this a couple of years ago, and I gotta sit and I gotta read this with my girls tomorrow. You know, the crucifixion in each one of the books, and I personally think each one captures it a little bit differently. But the book of Luke does it best in one regard, where it's talking about the men on either side of him, and both of them know who he is. They've known, they heard, you know, and you can assume based upon the text that one of them have at least seen something or knew something firsthand about what he'd done.
Mhm.
And you have the one guy who's mocking Christ on the cross. You know, he's mocking him. If you're so powerful, why don't you pull yourself down from here?
Yeah.
He's mocking him, and you can kind of hear this in your head. And the other three gospels don't do it as well as Luke, but the other one, you can hear him going, "Shut up. We deserve this. We deserve this. He has done nothing."
Yeah.
And he just looks and he says, "Remember me." That's so powerful, man.
There's
That's
that
powerful.
there's powerful
You know,
moments
and
every second he's on that cross. When
every second, where
the
here you are, this guy, and you can even look at that as a philosophical metaphor. This guy going, "No, I don't deserve this. Why am I being punished? This is excessive." And the one guy who accepts that his wages of sin is death.
he said,
He deserves every second of it.
and he even said, you know, please accept me, right? He even asked. And Jesus said,
Yeah.
you are saved, my son. I'll see you. He's
Absolutely.
the first
Tonight you
person
will-
to join him.
Yep. Today you will be with me in paradise.
Yeah.
You know? And that's exactly it. It's so powerful when I read that now.
Yeah.
It hit me so different when I thought about that. And that's one of those things where, you know, talk about being an American from being a kid to now, from being a religious person when you're young and you don't understand it because you've never done anything really that bad in life. You know, but you've been in church probably because of your parents. You know, it's like I knew Jesus existed because of my father, you know, in his conversion.
Yeah.
But in your own grace, you don't really feel it because you have nothing. I mean, you have things to be forgiven for, but you don't understand your own forgiveness.
Yeah.
You don't understand your own salvation.
Right.
And as you get older and, you know, your life is falling on your head or you've just dealt with whatever. And you can reach and you can find that salvation. And it is a gift that you don't deserve, that you've never earned. But here it is.
It's crazy.
Take it. And it's glorious, man. It really is.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah. Amen
Well,
indeed.
This interview has been amazing. I've loved
Thank
every
you.
second.
I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it a lot.
I think next year we should do this again.
I think so.
Who knows?
So.
Where are we going to be in a year?
Who knows? You know, who knows? I know they got they're talking to my church. Apparently this Easter is something kind of special. It's 1993 years, which is some mathematical thing. And they're talking about that in my men's group. And they were like, "Well, I mean, you can't predict anything, but just saying." And I was like, "Well, I got enough dried food and bullets. One time.
That's
One
so
time.
funny. No, I hope you're wrong forever.
The tribulation is my financial recovery program. You know,
uh,
but, No, you never know where you're going to be a year from now. I mean, maybe your podcast blows up, you get a lot of viewership. I'll be, more than happy to come on and rant with you again.
Yeah, I just hope to be reaching people. I just want to have more conversations. It's nice that I have so many coworkers that are open to it, and yeah,
I'll tell you, that is a different thing about America that I do love. I can't see things like this existing even 15 or 16 years ago,
right?
where you'd be willing to sit down with just another person and have these open conversations that are not only exposed to you, where we can get each other's opinions, life experiences, and anything, but they're going to post where any one of 8 billion people might be able to click on it and watch it.
I hope so. That is
It's an
amazing.
exposure that, especially men, not a lot of
Yeah.
men allow ourselves to have these kind of discussions. And
Yeah.
it's something that we need to do more of.
I agree.
Because, as a household and everything, we have to lead by faith and we have to lead by example.
Yes.
And part of that example comes from having strong conversations that come with strong opinions
Yeah, you need a
about
community.
about our faith that is not only great, our Lord that is good, but our country that is awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love America. I do. I
Yeah.
love this country. Its government is trash sometimes,
We're working
but
on it.
our country is amazing. Our country is amazing, and I love it.
Proud to be an American.
Me too.
Very
Me too.
proud.
And I got this sweet shirt.
Please show it.
I got it.
Oh yeah.
This is my sweet shirt.
What does that mean again?
It means God wills it.
Oh, I love it.
It was,
That's a crusader. A
it
crusader.
was the cry of the Crusades.
Oh,
God wills it. Like,
yeah. God
saying it, I
wills
just
your
want to hold
whole.
a sword. They're like, oh,
Can't. Those things are 100 pounds. Can't wield one of those swords.
they're only about 8. I have one upstairs.
They're 8 pounds.
About 8. Yeah.
Oh,
About
okay.
8. I'll show it to you sometime.
Is it a double
sword.
broadsword?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
I think I've got 2.
I love
All
it.
right, my friend. Thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Likewise. Have a great night.
I enjoyed it. You have a good night as well.
Say bye, Dada.
Bye, Dada.
Say lunch will be ready.
What do you want?
Nailed it.